and welcome to my channel Crafting with Shuttermonkey. I'm Amanda, also known as Shuttermonkey, and this is episode 23. Today is the 23rd of March 2023, which is quite a nice day to be filming episode 23, isn't it? So what have I been up to since I last filmed an episode? And I've got a couple of badges to show you that I've received. So the first one I got was this one. And this is my teacher's badge. And I got this from the SWI. And this is for teaching all the Evelyn Baxter classes in 2022 and the beginning of 2023. So I was quite pleased to finally have that badge. Now that I get to put this on my string of badges. These are the proficiency test badges that I've already achieved. So I've got my, let me just check, yeah. I've got my hand knitting, my machine patchwork, photography, and I have got my crochet and my colouring design. So now I get to add my wee teacher's badge onto there. And when I go out with the Ayrshire judges, when I'm practising, I'm a trainee judge, I get to wear this on my jumper. There's some ladies, you should see the lengths of ribbon they've got in all the test passes they've got. And you find like you're staring at their chest, which you shouldn't be doing, but you're trying to read all the little badges. So I get to add this one on. So I'm quite pleased with that. Just going to pop it out the way. And now that I've finished doing all the Evelyn Baxter classes, I taught my last class on the 11th and 12th of February. So that's me. I'm all done with. It's all by. And now I have to film all the tutorials, because I said I would film tutorials for every technique and put them onto YouTube. I'm starting to regret saying that, to be honest, but because it's going to be a lot of work. There's a lot of tutorials to film, but I'll work my way through that this year. So after finishing the last class, that was on the 12th of February, and then on the 25th of February, I got this little badge. Now this one says Guild Convener. So I am the H&H convener for Ayrshire now. I don't really think they know what they've let themselves in for, but hey ho. They'd 5 years to get rid of me. You're actually the junior vice convener for 2 years, then the senior vice convener for another 2 years. I was actually senior vice for 3 years, but just with COVID, things were all extended for a year, and now I've actually made it into the convener spot. I wore this badge around to when I was visiting my grandsons. I'd just finished a class and I still had my wee badge on. And the youngest one came over and says, "What does your badge say? Does it say Amanda?" And I said, "No, it says Guild Convener." And he said, "That's silly. It should have your name or say good job." So something maybe to think about for the future, Ayrshire. We need good job badges. And I'm just holding that upside down. Good job, you got it up the right way. Anyway, I've got to do this for 2 years. I am the Home Skills and Handcrafts Convener. That's what H&H stands for. And it is up to me to organise classes in Ayrshire, handcraft classes. And what else would I do? Judging. If we're having events in Ayrshire and we need judges, I would contact neighbouring federations and request judges. And also if neighbouring federations contact us looking for judges. So that was one of the first jobs that I had to do. There was a few requests in for judges, and the previous convener had already dealt with it, but a couple of changes had to be made. Just ladies that had found they were busy on that day, and then there was one other request that came in. So it feels like there's a lot to take in, but I'll get there, won't I? But anyway, that's another wee badge. I'm so worried that I'll lose that one. If I lose the other ones, I can get a new one, but I'm worried that I'll lose this. It's been passed on for I don't know how many years from one lady to the next, and I'll be the one that loses it somewhere. Right, anyway, enough of my badges and showing off all my silverware. Is it silver? No, one of them's gold. Let's get on with the crafty projects. That's what you're all here to see, aren't you? So I'm going to start off with something slightly different today. Rather than just jumping right into the knitting sections, I'm going to talk to you a wee bit about the sock designs that I've got in progress just now. Now, you've already seen this one. It's just that I feel like a lot of the time I spend a lot of the knitting section talking about the designs that I'm working on, and maybe that's not something you're very interested in. Maybe you just want to see actual patterns and stuff that you can go buy, whether it's other people's designs I'm knitting and you're not really interested in me blabbering on about the same thing all the time. So I put a separate section at the start. You can just skip by it if you want, okay? So, Doddle Socks. These are actually being tested just now. There was a wee slight delay in me sending out the socks to be tested because I got it tech edited. I got this pattern professionally tech edited, and it's the first time I've paid someone to do that. So that was quite a new experience for me. But she was lovely. She was really nice. And it was Frauka from Urban Yarning that I used. And she was, I watched actually her on YouTube. I saw an interview with her on YouTube and I thought, oh, she's lovely. Messaged her and she was able to help me out. These are actually with testers just now, and the pattern is going to be released on Saturday, the 1st of April. Okay, now this yarn here is by Rainbow Fusions. I've got all my wee tags here ready to show. So Rainbow Fusions, and it was called Unicorn Hair. And this is a 75% superwash merino, 25 nylon, and I knitted my socks on 3.25mm double pointed needles. But you can use, the pattern's actually written for double pointed needles, so if you want to use double pointed needles, I talk you through it stage by stage for double points. You don't have to stick to the double pointed needles. If you want to use magic loop, or if you prefer the tiny circulars, the 9-inch circulars or a 10-inch circular, you can use that as well. You're maybe already experienced at knitting and you can skip over some of my wordy instructions. Okay, but that's coming pretty soon. That's a week on Saturday actually. And it's with testers just now. I'm getting every size properly tested after having it tech edited as well. I feel like such a grown-up now, guild convener and getting your patterns tech edited. Oh my. Right. It's getting quite bright, isn't it? Right. So you've seen those ones before and I'll probably show you them again once the pattern's released, but pop those ones away. Now this is the large size. Yep, this is the large. And I'm going to give these ones to my son. He has been wearing the cuff down version. This is the toe up version. And he has been wearing those, and they're washing and wearing fine, even though they have been knitted with the Bo Peep yarn. This is a baby yarn. It's a luxury baby yarn, DK weight, but it is 52%, let me just double check this, 52% Falkland wool and 48% nylon, so there is a lot of nylon in here. And the colourways that I have used are the heel toe cuff, are Under the Sea, and it's shade number 686. And the main colour is Dolphin, and it's 1070. So this stripy bit here's Dolphin and the other bit's Under the Sea. Now I bought 3 balls. I bought 1 ball of Under the Sea, 2 balls of the Dolphin colourway, and I got the large socks and also a small pair as well. And hopefully these ones will fit the oldest grandson. I think the last time I filmed at the beginning of February, these weren't blocked yet, they still had the pins in, but they've all been blocked. Ends have all been sewn in, and I'll get them added to Ravelry. So if that's something that you're interested in knitting with the Bo Peep yarn, all the details will be over there, just to tell you exactly how much yarn I used and stuff like that, okay? Same with these small ones. I think these are still on the double pointed needles and I was still to finish them last time, but these are all finished and I'll get those ones added to Ravelry as well. Both of those were knitted with the 3.25mm needles again. You don't have to stick to 325. You would knit, your tension, you want 6 stitches per inch. So if you need to go slightly up, you need to go up a needle size or down to achieve that tension, but you want 6 stitches in an inch. Okay, right, let me pop that out the way as well. And as I say, they were all the Bo Peep yarn. The last time I made a video, I showed you a skein of yarn that I had from Biff Sugar Yarns, and the colourway was far, far, far away. And I managed to get that knitted up for my daughter-in-law, and here they are. I wanted to do longer socks, so these ones have got a longer leg on them, but it's just the exact same pattern, started toe up, and I've just lengthened the leg rather than it being a little shorty. But I'm really, really pleased with how these turned out. The colours are actually really nice because I wasn't sure how it was going to look. I'm not very good at judging how socks are going to turn out just from looking at a skein of yarn. But that's what's left over on my cake. So a wee bit untidy, isn't it? But when I wind a cake, I knit from the centre of the cake, so it kind of tends to just collapse in itself. So that's what's left over. And there's the wee contrasting navy skein. That's what's left over of that. There's not much. And again, what I'll do is I'll create a Ravelry page and I'll link below again, so you can have a wee look on Ravelry if there's any details you want to see about that. But knitted on the 325mm needles, followed the pattern. The only thing I did was extend the leg, make that a wee bit longer. But they are really pretty, aren't they? Right, get these ones away. I might show you these ones next time if I've not given them away. No, I'm probably going to have given them away. But I do need to get photographs of them because I'll need to share that on social media that you can extend the leg. Oh, one thing I did forget to say. These ones, I usually use my Leica needles, my 325s. They've got nice pink wooden ones. But for these ones, I tried these Knit Pro needles. Just make sure there's no shining on it. It's just the Knit Pro Zings, and I tried those in a 325. I actually bought those when I was down at Castle Douglas at the beginning of February in that little knitting shop I told you about, and they were really nice to knit with as well. I like experimenting with different needles. And I've used the Knit Pro Zings before, but it was for 4-ply socks, so it was just nice to try them in a different colour, because I think the ones I use for my 4-ply socks, the 225, they're yellow, aren't they? But these ones are green. So now that Doddle sock is well on its way to being published, because that's only been sitting about for a year, waiting for me to release it out into the world. Now that I've got that one almost done and published, I can start working on these ones again. Now this is a collection that I would like to publish. It's just lots of double knitting socks. And I've got the first two here. And again, West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. This colourway is Pixie and this colourway is Piglet. And I have more yarn in here. I can tell you the colour, the numbers if you want. Piglet is 269 and Pixie is 326. Okay, and I've got another 3 colours in here. I've got the Sailboat, I've got Tin Man, and I've got Buttercup. Now I've already knitted those socks as well. I've knitted 1 sock in each colour, and then I've used my leftovers to do a scrappy sock. So I've got 6 socks in this collection, and the idea is just to add a wee bit of texture into each one, so it'll be a different texture in each colourway, okay? And then there's going to be a stripy one with a pattern in it at the end. So I've still got to block the other 4 that I've done, because I've got this one, I've got this one, and I've got a blue, a yellow, a grey, and then I've got the stripy one. Now I started knitting these on the 24th of April last year, and I finished them on the 12th of May. So they've been lying about for 10 months. And the reason I haven't knitted the second sock is because the way I like to design is I knit the first sock, I make sure I'm happy with it, I write up the pattern, and then I knit the second sock from the pattern. And sometimes it's quite nice if you've had a wee break, because then if you have to knit from the pattern, you've forgotten how you did the first one. So you have to follow the pattern. And I'll do that before I get it tech edited and then tested. But what I'm wondering, because these are actually going to be a set of 6 socks, they're going to be called the Coorie Collection, and I'll get back to that in a wee minute why I'm calling it that. But it's just a different texture on each one. So rather than releasing individual sock patterns, it's going to be part of a collection where you just buy a bundle and there's different textures in it. And I know you probably think to yourself, why would we do that? We can just go add textures in ourselves, which you can do, but your tension is different, and I've already worked out how many stitches you need to change on the top of your foot. This one especially, this little piggy was really annoying me. Because this is seed stitch, just trying to join seed stitch at the side here and get it to look nice with the the stocking stitch sole. 3 times I did this sock. Ripped it in and out 3 times. That one was fairly straightforward, and the other ones were not too bad. Before I show you the other ones, but I'm going to get them all blocked, so I'll show you those in 2 weeks' time. I'll come back and show you them in 2 weeks when I film my next episode, okay? Because I do need to get better at filming these things. Stop leaving it so long. And I'll show you the textures that's on the other one. This one is just single moss stitch. This one is seed stitch. And as I said, it's going to be part of a collection, and I'm calling it the Coorie Collection. Now, we have a nice word in Scotland for if you just want to snuggle in at home. Coorie in, get cosy, and it's Coorie. So I know there's a, is it Danish, is it Hygge? And there's is it Lykke for Scandinavian? You get the Little Book of Happiness if you're Norwegian as well. There's a few books out there, but we've got our own word here in Scotland, and it's Coorie. It's C-O-O-R-I-E. So this will be the Coorie Collection, and the idea is, just when you've been out all day, you've been busy, running about, you want to come home, get in a bath, get some bed socks or whatever on, and that's why, again, I used the West Yorkshire Spinners, their DK yarn, because if it's just for bed socks, and you're only going to wear them at the end of the day, it's just if you're sitting watching TV and your feet get cold, you just want to Coorie in a wee bit, these are nice and cosy. Okay, you can knit them and regular sock yarn if you like, regular DK weight sock yarn, that's fine too. Or if you really wanted really luxurious socks, you could do them in 4-ply held with some mohair. You could do that as well, couldn't you? So that's what's coming, that's what I'm working on. So next time I'll show you the other 4 socks. I'll get them all blocked so they look nice and they look pretty for their debut, but that's what's coming, okay? And I've got some of this yarn left over. This was the unicorn hair one. And I think I'm just going to do some test swatches on that, just to make sure that I do get the same tension on the patterned pieces with regular sock yarn to this luxury baby yarn, which technically that's what it's labelled as. Okay, so that's what's coming soon. That's what's coming next. I know I started those socks. I was knitting those when I was doing the first load of Evelyn Baxter classes. That's what I was taking with me when I was working, because I felt it was fairly straightforward. It was quite easy for me to concentrate on. And here we are a year later, and I'm just getting round to publishing, testing. Right, last pair of socks before we move on to the knitting section, okay? And this is my gingerbread socks. This is something that I'm hoping to release as a knit along later in the year. Maybe Christmas in July. In the summertime, have a wee Christmas in July knit along. That might be quite nice. Now, these were the gingerbread yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners, and that was last year's colourway, which was 2022. That was their Christmas colourway. Now, what I wanted to do was add a bit of texture to the toes. So I've got little cables in there. I've got little twisting cables, and just at the top of the toe, not on the foot of the toe, I've got a nice little, if I say so myself, a little twisted cable on the heel as well, and I've got the twisted stitches as well, the twisted cable on the cuff. I wanted it to look like if you were piping icing onto a gingerbread house. That's what I was after. So that's why my socks look like that. But I'm going to show you those later on in the year, but they're on Ravelry already if you want to go and see details on how much yarn I used in the colourways, but I have already put them on Ravelry, and I'll link it below again. But you will see those ones again, okay? Right, now we can move on to the knitting section, the real knitting, not that fake design knitting, okay? Right, what will we start with? I've got 2 more socks to show you. You thought I was by with the socks, didn't you? Right, I'm going to show you finished things first, finished things in the knitting section. Now, when I did my whip parade, my knitting whip parade, I actually showed you these in there. And it was these little soap bags. And I've got them all finished. Look, they've all got their I-cords in. They are done. I can't hold them all up at the one time because I'll just drop them all. There we go. All 6 of them, all finished. They've all got a lovely soap inside. This one makes me laugh. This one's called Fanny. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Maybe I should bleep that out. Anyway, it makes me chuckle every time I see it. So these are all finished, and these are the Marvellous Soap Mitt by So Sweet Violet, and that is a whip that's been lying about for quite some time in my room, so I'm glad that that's finished. I might not use them as soap mitts. I might just leave them dotted about in drawers to make socks smell nice. If you've got some, even put them in my linen cupboard. They might be used for that. They might not be soap mitts, but they are finished. And they are leaving my sewing room. They are going to be out of this room. Quite happy about that. Right, let me just put them over here. And I finished all these as well. Now, let me just get the name of this right, because I don't want to get it wrong. The Wondrous Dishcloth. Same designer, So Sweet Violet, and there's one in each colour as well, the 6 pastel colours. I'm going to put these in my kitchen. These will be used as dishcloths, and I'm quite looking forward to using these. I just need to get them photographed. I think when I did my whip parade, they just had to be blocked. These were actually finished, just needing blocked, and I'll get photographs of them, and I'll link that in Ravelry. And I have tried to use the leftovers of these for something else, but I'll show you that in the next section, okay? Right, what else have I been working on? Just pop that out the way. My triangulum blanket. Where is my blanket? It's behind me. Look behind you. Here we go. So last time I showed you this, I only had one row on. And I haven't blocked it. I've just been knitting, attaching the hexagons. And I haven't blocked it or anything. But you still get the idea of how it looks. I think I'm going to have to put a couple of extra little triangles up here just to square off the blanket, because the way I'm doing it down the side, I've got half hexagon, full hexagon here, and then a half hexagon. So it's going to be square down this side. So I think I'll just have to square up along the top edge as well. But I'll try and hold it up and let you see it all. So that's January and February. And they're all the Birthstone collection from Biff Sugar Yarns. And I collected that all last year. It was a different 6 20-gram mini skeins each month last year. So that's me got the garnet and the amethyst is done. And because this is March, I am working on the March mini skeins. Now, I'm going to show you these. Again, it's only half hexagons. Let me see if I can hold this up and let you have a wee peek in the inside. I don't want to mix those ones up because I've got them in the right order that I'm knitting from. And I'm still working on this little half hexagon here. That's one of the colours. And I've got my 2.75mm Knit Pros. Those ones are orange. I really do like knitting with those as well. I do like my pink needles, but I'm just a sucker for anything pink, to be honest. I'm going to pop that back in that wee needle case so I don't lose it. So, this one is the March colourway, and aquamarine. This is aquamarine. And this is the colourways. This is the colours for the aquamarine. And again, before I do the last 2 triangles, I have to pick up stitches along the purple from above to attach it on. So I'll just show you the different colours that I've got so far. Some of them are stunning. I didn't think there was much difference in this. See, when you held this bundle up together before I wound it, I thought, they're not really that different from one another. And then you start knitting with them and you realise, no, they are quite different. So I think I'm a wee bit behind in this. I think I've only worked up until the 16th of March. So I'm a wee bit behind, but it's no problem. I can actually do 3-4 triangles in an evening, just sitting watching TV when my head's up to that. But I'll get these attached hopefully by the end of this month. Right, so here is the next colour, because by the time I film my next episode, you're only going to see it already wound up. Sometimes it's nice to see it in the bundle, isn't it? You can see all the different colours. So April is Diamond, and that is the colours for April. Oh, that pink one's jumping out. So there's 3 solid colours and then there's 3 variegated colours for Diamond. And I'm actually really enjoying working on this. I just hope I don't get to halfway through the year and put it aside like I've done with my last 2 hexagon blankets, but they will get brought out. I will finish them. I feel like I'm more able to focus on things, and I got my testosterone. I managed to get that. Didn't get it through the NHS, but I have got it. I've only been using it for 2 weeks and I do feel it's made quite a bit of difference. The biggest difference it's made is sleeping. I can't believe how well I'm sleeping. Oh, but the only problem is I'm like a big hibernating bear. When I fall asleep, that's me till I wake up. I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I'm zonked, and I think I just lie there snoring all night long, which doesn't bother me, but I think it bothers other people. I don't care. I'm sleeping. Right, so that's next month. So next time you see that, these will all be wound up and I will be knitting with them, but so you can see how they look in the mini skein. Right, I've got my wee chart that I'm colouring in. So there's how it's looking just now. And I'll just keep colouring it in every month. It's really nice. It helps you keep track. Well, it helps me keep track. That wee bit of colouring in. I used to like biology at school, biology and geography, so I do like colouring in. Yeah, there I am. That was my wee chart that I drew up for the triangulum blanket, and I've only done up to the 15th, but I'll get caught up with that. That's no problem. As long as I don't have much else on, I can get caught up with that. And the next thing that I could show you is my shawl, because I've still been working away on this shawl, this baby shawl, and trying to colour in every day for that as well. Here we go. It's grown a wee bit since I showed you it last. Will I be able to get it all in the shot? Is the multi-million-dollar question. Right, that's the front here. Let me get up out the way. So there's one side. And here's another side. Can I just balance that and let those stitches fall in the needle? There we go. It's looking really nice, isn't it? I've only been working on this for an hour a day. Oh, hold on, dropped a wee baggie with yarn, and that's for my edging. I'm going to need new yarn for doing the edging of this 4th side. So what you do is you knit out from the centre. You knit out from the square in the centre, you pick up your stitches and you knit out, and then you attach on the border. It's an applied edging. Now the centre square, because I've been keeping track and only doing an hour a day, the centre square took me 11 hours and 20 minutes. And to do an edging, so from here, this old shale out to here, takes me 6.5 hours. And then to add on this applied edging at the edge, funny that the edging's on the edge, that's 6 hours. That's 6 hours as well. So right now I've got about 6.5 and 6. I've got 12.5 hours and it'll be finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and get it finished for the end of this month. And then it's a big project off the needles, isn't it? Even though I'm only doing it an hour a day. Some days you don't do it if you're busy, some days, and then you've got 2 hours to do it. It becomes a bit of a task then. But these holes in it, they're supposed to be there. You deal with those at the end. Now the pattern tells you to herringbone stitch it, and I think I did that with my last shawl, the cream one, and it was for my judges test. Sorry, it was for a proficiency test with SWI, and the lady that came to do the judging, that came to assess our tests, she wasn't very happy with how I'd stitched it together. So I think I'm just going to lace it up. When I did the Evelyn Baxter class, the tutor that was there that taught us what we had to go out and teach for the class, she showed us, if you've got, because you've got the yarn over, you've got a yarn over the needle, you've got that wee loop, and rather than sewing it together, I think I'm just going to lace it with a crochet hook, and I'm going to try that, because she did give us instructions on how to do that, but it's not something we had time to fit into the actual class, because the class we had with the tutor was 3 days long. The one that I taught was only 2 days, so we had to condense it down, and there was a couple of things that didn't get done. So I think I'm going to try that to close the gaps, and I'll let you know how I got on. It could be disastrous. But you don't always have to stick to the pattern. Just you go with the nicest finish that you can possibly achieve. But I am knitting this in Kinkle Comfort, and I bought 4 balls of this. I'm doing it on a 4.5mm needle because I've gone up. It's supposed to be 3-ply and I'm using 4-ply. I really like the fabric that it's producing on that slightly bigger needle. And I bought 4 balls of it because I wasn't quite sure. I did check my other 2 shawls, the yardage that I used for those, but they were both 3-ply weight and they were both 4mm needles. So I bought slightly more yarn, and I think I'm going to need that 4th ball because this is for my edging. No, sorry, this is for my border, and I've only got 30 grams of this left. I've knitted 2 borders out of this one. The first ball I got my centre square and I got 1 border, and this one's done 2 borders so far. I might just get the third one, that 4th final border out of it, but that's all I've got left, that wee bit in there for the edging. So it's not going to be enough to finish it. So I will need, I think it's up there. I've got it sitting up behind me. Yep, it's up there. I've got a 4th ball up there that I can break into. I can open and finish it off. So I'm glad I got that 4th ball and that they're all the same dye lot. So hopefully the next time I come on and film on the 6th of April, I'll have a finished baby shawl to show you. But I think if I was doing it an every day, it should be finished for around about the 3rd, 4th of April. But I'm going to try and crack on and get it done before the end of the month. And then it's done. And that's 2 months. That's about 60 hours knitting. It's a lot of time, isn't it? And especially if you're somebody that works and you're asked to knit one of these shawls. It's a big commitment, isn't it? Right. 2 more things to show you in the knitting section, and they're both socks again. Sorry. But here we go. This one here. I don't think I've shown you these before. I can't remember. I might have shown you this one at some point, but not that one. This is it was a mini skein set that I bought, and it was 5 mini skeins, and the theme was Hocus Pocus. It was from Wildflower Yarns. Is that right? If it's not, I'll link below anyway where I got it. I'll link to the dyer below anyway. I'm sure it was Wildflower Yarns. And there was the 5 mini skeins. Now this one here, the green and the orange, is called Winifred, after the oldest Sanderson sister. And this one is Mary. This red and black colourway. And the heel, the toe and the cuff, make sure I've used it on all of the heel, toe and cuffs. That mini skein was Thackeray Binks. And I've got 2 more to use that were in the set. Oh, that one's unwinding. And this one's Sarah. And this one is the Black Flame Candle. And I've only got tiny, tiny, tiny little bits of each of these other colourways left over. So there's not much there to put into another project. But the reason I actually bought that yarn is because I love these stitch markers. Little beaded stitch markers. And there's each of the Sanderson sisters there. And there's Thackeray as well. But they are just so cute. And you had to buy, it was the 5 mini skeins of yarn, and you could get the stitch markers. But I just love them. They are so sweet. Now, this sock here, it was seed stitch I used. It was a variation of seed stitch actually, because I started using seed stitch to put a bit of texture in, and I could see how the yarn was working. I was getting one row of orange on the front, the green seemed to be going to the back, and then the next row I had black at the front, and I really liked the way it was the part. So it was a slight variation in seed stitch that I used, but as you can see on the second stock, I used the same pattern, but the yarn didn't, is it pull the same way? So, but I'm really pleased with them. These are actually going to my daughter. So she's going to get those, and now that I've shown them to you, and I've actually already taken pictures and put them on Ravelry, she can have these. And with those two skeins that are left over, I'll maybe just knit a pair of mittens with them. Then she can have matching socks and gloves, can't she? Mittens and gloves. She can have hocus pocus, because I just wanted the stitch markers. Right, to put those out the way. And the last knitting thing that I've been working on, my brain's been a wee bit fried recently. Just there's been a lot to take in, just with different roles and responsibilities that I've taken on. I know your brain's a bit fried taking on these volunteer positions that you take on. It's not like I get paid to do any of this stuff. It's all volunteer. But it's a sock for my husband. Do you know, I don't even have a sock blocker here for a large sock. I'll see if I can get it on this, but it might not fit properly. It's a wee bit big. This was a whip. I showed you this in my whip parade. It was 6-ply sock yarn. And I've got the second one almost finished. I think in the whip parade, I was actually at the exact same spot. I was on that white colour, because all I had to do was get onto the blue. So in the whip parade, I think that's where I was in the sock, but I have finished the first sock, and I've managed to get the second one to almost the exact same position. So those ones will definitely be finished the next time I come on and film. But they're kind of flying off the needles, because it's 6-ply yarn on a 3mm needle, and I'm actually just using my Doddle sock, the toe-up version, and I've got a couple more stitches on, and that's the only change that I've made. But I could tell you more about that next time when they're finished and that pattern's actually released, can't I? Right, let's move on to the crochet section. And you might have already seen this on the back of my chair, but I got that little blanket finished. Now, I haven't actually blocked this. I just washed it and I put it into the washing machine, and then I hung it over the banister at the top of the stairs. I just hung it over there to dry, so it's not been properly steam blocked or anything like that. But I wanted to see how it would look washed and air dried, because obviously that's the way Mum's going to dry it, wash and dry it, isn't it? But I'm really pleased with how this turned out. The only problem I had with it, it's not a problem per se, the only issue I had with it was, I told you before, every time the yarn changes colour, there was a big bump, so it had a lot of ends to weave in. Because just going from the dark in the middle to this lighter shade of pink, there was 4 colour changes. So it's 4 sets of ends to weave in every time the colour slightly changes. Now, it's not very big. Round the edge as well, it's a granny square blanket, and I used my granny square cushion pattern, which I will link below, to make this. I just kept going. I just kept making a bigger and bigger granny square. But that last round here, it's just what did I do? I think it's a treble in the middle with a half treble either side, and then a wee double crochet to join it, just to give it a slightly scalloped edging, just so it wasn't a blunt granny square edging. I just wanted a tiny wee bit of scalloping on the side. Now, it's not very big, it's only 28 inches square. It's enough for a wee lap blanket if Jaden still wants it. I haven't asked him, he's not seen it for a wee while. He saw the yarn and he said he loved it because he loves the colour pink. He comes round here and he loves to hoover. But my daughter's got a pink shark hoover, and hers is the favourite hoover because hers is pink. Mine's is just boring black. But we'll see. If it doesn't do him, if it's not any good for him, the new baby will be here soon, and it might do for maybe car seat. But the only thing I'm thinking, if I mention the new baby, maybe he'll say, no, it's mine. He's not getting it, he'll say, because everybody's he. I refer to everything as she. Like, those stitch markers are lovely. Isn't she sweet? He's he with everything. Complete opposite to me. I should show you the yarn label. It was the Woolly Whirl, and I used most of it. I had a tiny wee bit of that final colour left, but I just stopped because I thought I've not got enough to do another full round. And I just stopped when I thought I've only got enough to do that final wee round, which I will change into a scalloped border, and I'll stop. But that is it. That took me, I managed to finish that in February. Just check my chart. Yep. 23 hours and 45 minutes it took me, because it was the top one here. I know I coloured both of them in pink. I should have picked a different colour, but it was because both of the projects were pink, the shawl and the crochet blanket. And that's how my crochet for this month is looking. 4 days. I need to do better with my crochet. That's why I've got so many crochet whips. Now that that's finished and I've shown it to you, I'll get a couple of photographs, I'll add the details to Ravelry, and that's something else that I can get out of my room. And the final crochet thing, the final crochet project that I've been working on, it was just a little, it was using up the leftovers from the Wondrous dishcloths and the Marvellous soap mitts, and I just had lots of wee bits that kind of looked like this in my bag, wee leftovers, and I thought, what could I make with those? So I thought, I'm going to try making a face cloth, a little cotton face cloth. My daughter has been asking me, could I try making her these? She'll buy them online rather than buying cotton wool pads. She has bought a couple of brands. And I thought, do you know what? She's asked me for these before. She's very knit worthy, crochet worthy. She always uses what you make for her. Socks, shawls, you name it, mittens. She wears her stuff more than I do. So I thought, right, I'm just going to try making her some of these cloths. So I managed to get a purple, and I managed to get a orange. Can you think what the colour was there? And then I tried to do a yellow, but I ran out of yarn. Then I tried to do a pink. I think I did the pink first actually, and I ran out of yarn, so I've not got the final. But I might see if I've got enough. There's a wee bit of purple left over. I can maybe finish the pink with the purple, see how that goes. And there's a wee bit of orange left, maybe I would just have enough to finish the yellow. We'll see, because I'm not buying yarn to finish them off. So I haven't made the blue one yet, because I know I definitely don't have enough yarn to do that one. And I don't think I've got enough of the green either. But whether I can combine them and make her multicoloured ones, I don't know. I would just like to use up. The only thing is I could put the green into... I've got a crochet whip in there that with the wee mini ladybirds and the wee butterflies. I could put that into that box, and I could use that for making up some aphids. You know, in like 2033, whenever I get round to doing it. I could keep the green and it would get used, but I don't think I would use the blue. So what I'll do is I'll link the pattern for this below. I just searched on the internet. I just had a quick look online for crochet washcloths, and there's lots and lots of patterns that come up. But that one, I found that one quite interesting. It was actually for a worsted weight yarn, and I really just liked the texture on it. I thought the texture was really, really nice. So I actually tried, the first one I tried, I only used one strand of the cotton with a smaller size crochet hook, and I didn't like it. It was too flat. I quite like these ones. There's a wee bit of bulk to those, a wee bit. They'd feel more like a pad rather than just a wee bit of thin crochet cotton. So I ripped it out and I redid it, and I doubled up the yarn. So I used it from both ends, and I used a 5.5mm hook. But I will link the pattern below. If it's something that you're interested in, you can go have a wee try. at crocheting those if you've got any leftovers. But I'll give those two to her. I'll give these to my daughter, see how she likes them, and then I'll maybe see if I've got enough leftovers and just add another colour in there, because I'm sure she won't mind if it's an odd colour, just to finish these two off rather than going buying more yarn. Right. Oh, do you know where I might have some pink in that? The panda outfits. I might have a bit of pink in there I could use. Well, I did have a look through my other whips and I didn't find any yellow or pink, but I'll look through the panda, because I looked in my crochet cupboard and I didn't find any. So I'll go look at that panda outfit, one of my knitting whips. Right, and that's me done with crochet. Okay, I really do need to try and make a dent in those crochet whips. Focus on that hour a day. Right, let's move on to the patchwork and quilting section. Okay, and I have actually got something sewn to show you. It's not really patchwork. And it's probably not going to look that impressive right now, but I've been making a Roman blind. Now I've got all my rods in, and it's just going to unfold and look like that. But it does have all the rods in, and it's got all the rod pockets, and I've got all the wee rings on the back. The Velcro's on the back, ready to go onto the blind. What do you call the thing that you screw onto your window? That Velcro's on. So what I need my husband to put this up. It's going on my front door, I think. So I need my husband to attach this to the front door, because I'm not doing that. Have you ever seen Mr. Bean trying to do DIY? That would be me. I would try to attach this onto the front door and the whole house would fall down. So I just kind of tend to leave certain things. So get him to attach this onto the front door, and this has actually got the Velcro on it, the blind kit. Now this came as part of the class that I was at, and then all I need to then do is Velcro my blind onto here, run these strings through the rings at the back, and then we've got little toggles that we put on, and it's almost done. But as I say, that's a job for someone else, not for me. And the only thing I have to do with this is, once it's on the front door, I'll see if I can lift this up, hold on to some of the rods. I just need to make sure that length at the bottom is okay. At the class, the teacher showed us how to fold it up at the bottom, and then you cut 7 centimetres off, fold it back in itself and hand stitch that bottom bit. But I just had a panic. She was actually demonstrating in mine, and I said to her, don't cut that. I want to go home and check the length before I cut it, because I do have an extra couple of centimetres on there if I needed them, if it was just hitting the bottom of the door. It's a piece of glass in the front door. And I just thought, what if it's just short? I'm meeting the bottom of that window. And I come home and checked, and I think I maybe do need it. She said to me, as long 15 millimetres to 2 centimetres would be fine. But if I adjusted too much, it's going to, oh, one of my rods is poking out. It's going to adjust my cascade, how the folds lie. So I have to be careful not to make it too long. But that's all I have to do, and that'll be finished. And see, when I get it finished, I'll do a wee video of me pulling it up and down, and I'll show you. It might be next time. We just have to get that blind apparatus thing attached onto the front door. And as I say, I'm going to leave that to the husband, and he's really, really busy with work just now, and he's going to be working away for the next 2 weeks. But I'll get it finished and I'll show you eventually. But it was really nice having my sewing machine out. I haven't used my sewing machine since I got it serviced, and it was serviced in August last year. And see, when I took the lid off and I saw it and I was at the class, and see that way you just wanted to hug it, I'm like, oh, I've missed you. And it was so nice using it again, but I couldn't hug it at class. See, if I'd been at home, I would have hugged it. But because you're in a class full of people, you think, you need to act like a grown-up. You better not start hugging your sewing machine and saying, hello, old friend, how I've missed you. Oh, I should probably tell you the fabric that I used. This is a Dashwood Studios fabric, and I think it's part of the Prairie collection by Rebecca Stoner. Now this has been in my stash for quite some time, and every time I'm clearing out, every time I'm thinking, do I really want that fabric? Am I going to use it? It came as there was another bundle, I had a fat quarter bundle, and I've gradually get rid of some of it, but I just love this. It's that lacy pattern, that nice pale grey, and my hall's grey. So when I signed up to go to this class, this Roman blind class, I thought, well, what would go in my hall? I don't want to buy anything because it's the only window in the house that needs a blind on it. And I thought, well, you could hang it maybe in the front door, but just in case I don't want to go out and buy something and then I don't use it. And the backing, it's actually just a pale grey, 100% cotton. It's just it'll be a Moda or a Robert Kaufman. It's just some grey at the back. I had enough of that, and the teacher said to just use that rather than using. She'd brought along some cotton backing, but she said I would just use that. It'll look nice on your grey fabric at the front. And she came along and she supplied all the blind kits. She cut them all to size for us as well. And she brought the rods here, and she brought all the rings, and she brought the Velcro for us. So it was a really good class. It was a 2-day class with the SWI, and it was just over in Fenwick, which is a 10-minute drive for me. I don't think it'll be creased once I get it finished. Oh, that wee rod's poking out. I'm going to have to unpick a wee stitch to get that back in, actually. But there we go. The only thing I had to do was, you can see it is slightly patchworked. My fabric wasn't long enough and I had to add a wee bit, and I thought I'll add it in at the top where the Velcro is, and it looks like it's meant to be there. So there was a lot of hand stitching in this, because when you get to, you've made your lining and you've made all your rod pockets at the back, and then you have to get the front to a particular size. And the front is supposed to be 1 inch wider than the backing, and then you hand stitch it all down. It was a lot of hand stitching. So in between the first and the second class, sorry, I feel like I'm throwing this thing about, we had to hand stitch all the way down here on both sides. And some of the poor ladies it wasn't right, and they had to unpick it all and redo it. I felt really sorry for them, so I did. So there we go. My rods are falling out. I need to sort that rod. But I will get that finished, and as soon as it's finished, I will probably pop a picture on the Instagram. Blind goes up, blind goes down, blind goes up, blind goes down, blind goes up. You get the gist. Just before we finish up, I think I'm going to tell you about some future knitting plans that I've got. Okay, rather than lumping it into the knitting section, I thought I would put it right at the end. So, I showed you my Castle View Yarns advent calendar before, and I was planning on doing a cardigan that I'd already seen. I think I linked the cardigan in a previous episode, and I was going to start this cardigan for myself. Was it the Hemdall cardigan? I'll check that. But I've decided not to do that. As much as I love that calendar, it's a DK weight calendar, and it was a DK weight cardigan. As much as I love the yarn and as much as I love the pattern, I just don't think they're going to go very well together, for me anyway. I don't tend to wear a lot of really, really bright clothes. I'm just trying, a couple of episodes ago I had a bright pink jumper on with blue dinosaurs, but my clothes are just a wee bit more subtle. And I've been watching people knitting up with the advent calendar, making garments on Instagram. And every time I look at them, I think, that's lovely, but it's no me. So I hadn't started it yet. I had my test swatch. I used the leftovers from the sock that I made, the cuff down Doddle sock, and I did my tension swatch. So I know I've got my tension all worked out. I've already got that done. And I thought, right, come on, you need to make a decision here. So in the morning, I usually get up in the morning before my daughter, and I make her a wee coffee before she goes to work, and we just sit and have a wee chat for 10-15 minutes before she leaves for work for the day. And I'd kind of made the coffee, I sat down, I had my phone open, I had I had the hashtag open on Instagram, Castleview Yarns, and the recent hashtags, the recent makes with that hashtag were coming up. And as I'm sitting looking at it and thinking, I just don't know if I want a cardigan in those bright colours. In walks my daughter behind me. She looked at my phone and says, oh, that's gorgeous. I would love it if you made a jumper like that for me. So there you go. Decision made. So I still will knit the cardigan at some point because I like it, but I'll use one of my other advents that's maybe just a wee bit subtle colours. Oh, sorry, it was the Caramel Cardigan by Isabel Kramer. I've got it here. I'd printed it out already. What did I call it earlier? I can't even remember what I called it. Losing it. Blame it on my age. So, what I'm going to do instead is the Gartrell Crew by Tanis. Let me get her name properly. Tanis Fibre Arts. So, after my daughter said that I would love it if you knitted me a jumper like that, that was it. Decision was made. So rather than taking all her measurements, I said to her, have you got a jumper that you like? A jumper that you really like the fit of, the shape of the neck, all that kind of stuff. Bring it down and I'll get the measurements off of that and I'll make her a jumper from those measurements. So, and then lo and behold, the very next day, I saw this on Instagram and there was also a sale code. So it's kind of fate, isn't it? It just kind of all came together within the space of 24 hours. So I've got my tension swatch done. I just have to measure it all up, get the size that I want to make for her, make sure like armholes and things like that, the neck's the way she wants it. And the next thing I would need to do is just work out the length of the jumper, how many rows is going to be in that, and then split it by 24. Because I want to try and get an even spread of the colours throughout the jumper. So there's 24 colours. And what I was thinking is if I tried to even do 3 colours a day, it would take me 8 days to do the back, 8 days to do the front, and then we can try and do the sleeves. See what's left, because the sleeves might be slightly different, because I don't imagine the sleeves will be as long as the body. So it might be a slightly different adjustment of the number of rows that you need to do. So that is a future plan for me, and I'm hoping to start that on the 1st of April. I would like to work in that during April because that yarn was beautiful from that advent calendar, and I've got so many nice advent calendars over the last couple of years and I really want to be knitting them up. As well as working on my whips, I would like to use some of this beautiful yarn that I've got so it's not just lying about in a cupboard. And if Chloe will wear this, I'm very happy to knit it for her. And then I can take whatever leftovers are there and I can knit some scrappy socks for myself, couldn't I? Because I seem to do better, or even a cowl. Maybe I could put it into a cowl depending on how much is left over, because we're talking about 480 grams of double knitting yarn. There's plenty there. Should be more than enough for a jumper, plus maybe some other smaller projects. So maybe I'll get a cowl out of it. That would be, I could wear a nice bright cowl. So I'll maybe do that. What I really need to do is try and focus on one big project a month. I've enjoyed working in that baby shawl. And I mean, in 2 months I've managed to knit a baby shawl, and it's a big commitment. It's a lot of knitting that goes into that. So I think I'm going to spend April trying to work in that jumper for my daughter. Keep up with my triangulum blanket and try my best to get an hour a day in for the crochet as well. And if I need anything else, I've always got those 6-ply socks. Try and get rid of that 6-ply stash that I've got, especially when I had 2 socks started. So if I can even just finish the 2 socks that I started and see what's left. And I'm really hoping that if I come back in 2 weeks' time and make another video, that I'll have something to show you for that jumper that I'm maybe a part of the way through the back. Because I can't wait to see how all the yarns knit up together. They're so pretty, but I just don't think it's a garment for me, to be honest. So looking forward to getting that started. And I think I've talked at you for long enough today, haven't I? I'll go get going and go have my lunch. It's about 1 o'clock now, so I'll go get myself some lunch, get a wee cup of tea, and I'll start editing this and get it uploaded as soon as I can. But if there's anything I've forgotten to mention, I'll try and link everything below, but if there's anything I've forgotten to mention, just ask me, because I'm still a wee bit scatterbrained right now, okay? Right, anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!